Welcome to the Universal Tech Units podcast. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something many of you might have heard about, maybe even tried out yourselves, software beta features. Yeah, these aren't just, early sneak peeks. They're a really crucial, sometimes kind of messy part of how the tech we use every day actually gets made. So, our mission today is to unpack what beta features really are, why they're so important in the tech world, and then we're going to take a fascinating sort of hands-on look at Apple's latest OS 26 public betas that's across iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS. We've pulled together insights from experts, plus real-world feedback from people already using these betas to give you the full picture. The good, the bad, and sometimes the surprisingly buggy. So let's kick things off. What exactly is a beta feature?
That's a great place to start. Because honestly, understanding the beta phase, it's key to understanding how software gets built these days. Essentially, beta features are experimental versions of software functions. They get released to a limited group of users before the big public launch. Think of it like a dress rehearsal for a play. You're
Yeah.
testing everything out in a real-world setting. Does the dialogue work? Do the props, hold up? All to get feedback and polish things before opening night.
Okay, that dress rehearsal analogy, that really works. But if beta is the dress rehearsal, what about the alpha phase we sometimes hear about? How does that fit into the picture?
Right, good question. If we look at the whole process, alpha testing usually happens internally, just within the company. Often these are the really raw, maybe not so stable versions. Internal teams are just trying to catch the fundamental problems, make sure the core stuff actually works.
Okay, so alpha is internal, rougher.
Exactly. Beta testing, though, that involves real users, people outside the company interacting with features that are generally a bit more stable. It's that really critical bridge, between the internal development and the full public release. It gives you invaluable insights into performance and, crucially, how people actually experience it in their own environments.
It still seems like a lot of effort, maybe even a public risk, putting unfinished software out there. What's the core strategic reason? Why is beta testing so essential for companies now? Is it just bug hunting?
That's a really important point. It's definitely more than just squashing bugs. Companies get so much value from seeing how people use things in the real world in ways internal testing just, well, can't replicate. They use strategies like gradual rollouts or maybe targeting specific groups. A/B testing is huge here too, to measure the impact of new features.
A/B testing features after release.
Well, yeah, and this is where feature flags come in. These are pretty powerful tools. They let developers turn features on or off for certain groups of users, all without actually changing the main code underneath.
Wow, okay.
So it allows for really controlled testing, getting focused feedback, and importantly, if something goes wrong, they can just flip the switch and turn it off quickly. It manages risk effectively.
Mm,
And yeah, it can enable ongoing refinement even after the initial launch.
that sounds incredibly flexible. Like they can almost keep tweaking things in the background, testing ideas on small groups without a big announcement. It's sort of continuous beta.
You've got it. It really blurs the lines between finished and still evolving. It shows how iterative software development has become. But, for a beta test to actually work, it's not just about throwing the software out there. It needs a strategy.
Strategy, how so?
Well, you need to pick the right type of beta. Is it private for something sensitive, public for broad feedback and scale, or maybe focused testing integration with specific hardware? And then planning, recruiting participants. That's key. You need clear goals. What do you want to learn? And you need the right kind of users giving feedback. But there are pitfalls too, like maybe you teach the beta testers too much so they stop acting like normal users, or you get overwhelmed trying to fix every single tiny bit of feedback.
Right, you need to filter the signal from the noise.
Exactly. The key is collecting and analyzing that feedback efficiently, often using automated tools now, and keeping communication open, like through email or maybe dedicated forums, Discord servers, that kind of thing.
It sounds like a real balancing act. Okay, so we've got the why and the how of betas. Now let's get practical. Apple just opened the doors to public betas for, well, pretty much everything coming in 2026. iOS 26, iPadOS 26, watchOS 26, tvOS 26, and macOS Tahoe 26.
Yes, and a really key thing connecting a lot of these, visually at least, is this new design theme they're calling liquid glass.
Liquid glass.
Yeah, it's sort of Apple's take on what comes after the flat design era we've been in. It's aiming for this translucent, depth-aware look. Think soft shadows, refraction effects, giving interfaces a bit more texture. Now, apparently it's been tweaked since the very first developer betas because of some legibility concerns early on. But you definitely notice it. Lock screen, Home screen, control center, the music app, it's pretty widespread.
Interesting. Liquid glass. Beyond just looking cool, what does that signal, do you think? Is it just aesthetics, or is it trying to solve a user problem? Maybe make things feel more, I don't know, tangible?
That's a good question. Yeah. It's likely more than just looks. It feels like a move towards making the digital space feel a bit more immersive, maybe slightly more physical. The idea might be to use those subtle cues, the depth, the transparency, to help reduce cognitive load. Make it easier to quickly understand the hierarchy of information on the screen. And the fact they refined it after legibility issues suggests they are trying to balance that aesthetic with actual usability, making it feel more natural, maybe more responsive, without getting in the way.
Okay, makes sense. Let's shift focus to the iPad then. There's always this talk, right? People wanting the iPad to be more like a desktop. Does iPadOS 26 actually push things in that direction, especially for, say, content creators?
iPadOS 26 definitely takes some big steps with window management and multitasking. You can now properly drag, resize, position multiple apps much more freely. You can even get things like 3-column layouts or maybe 4 apps tucked into the 4 corners. It genuinely makes the iPad feel more like a flexible tool for getting stuff done, especially creative work.
So you could actually have, like, your research notes, a video playing, and maybe photos open all at once and interact with all of them?
Pretty much, yeah. Much less clunky than before.
That sounds like a big deal for power users. But does adding that complexity risk making the iPad less simple for people who just use it casually, or is it handled well?
That's always the balancing act for Apple, isn't it? From what we're seeing, the core simple experience is still there. These advanced features, you kind of have to seek them out. So it makes the iPad more capable if you need it, without really forcing that complexity on everyone else. It's about adding utility, not necessarily sacrificing ease of use. And beyond multitasking, there's other stuff too. Enhanced file and folder organizing. You can use color coding now, even emoji tags.
Emoji tags, okay.
Yeah. And for communication, live captions, and live translation in FaceTime and phone calls, this is powered by that new Apple Intelligence system.
Right, the on-device AI stuff.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, it works even if the person you're talking to doesn't have OS 26, because your device handles the processing. And for creators, there's a new local capture feature. It lets you cleanly record your side of a video or audio call, video and audio, even spatial audio, with AirPods directly onto your iPad.
Whoa, so you could record an interview and get a clean track of just your voice and video.
Precisely. Turns your iPad into a mini portable interview setup. Pretty neat.
Very cool. Okay, let's move from the big screen to the pocket. iOS 26 on the iPhone. What are the standouts there for everyday use?
Well, you get the liquid glass design too, of course. Transforms the lock screen, home screen, control center with those glassy effects, and apparently enhanced haptic feedback too. Beyond looks, the camera app gets a major overhaul. The phone app gets some serious upgrades too, things like call screening.
Call screening, how does that work?
It basically asks callers for their name and why they're calling before it connects you. And there's Hold Assist too, to help deal with spam calls and give you summaries later.
Handy.
Yeah. Messages gets custom backgrounds, polls and group chats, typing indicators for groups. Siri is meant to be more conversational, more context-aware, able to handle multi-step tasks like schedule a meeting with Sarah for tomorrow and remind me an hour before.
Okay, Siri getting smarter is always welcome.
And again, Apple Intelligence powers things like visual intelligence, letting you interact with text or objects in anything on your screen, photos, PDFs, whatever, plus Genmoji and Image Playground for creating AI images right within apps.
That's a lot packed in. So, the big question, stability. How is the iOS 26 public beta holding up? And while we're at it, what about the Apple Watch? Anything major there?
Okay, so iOS 26 Public Beta 1, surprisingly stable. That seems to be the consensus. A huge improvement over the earlier developer betas in terms of day-to-day smoothness and battery life.
Really? Even on older phones?
Yeah, reports suggest even older devices like an iPhone 12 feel snappier with app launches. But, I mean, it is still beta software, so you'll see occasional animation stutters, maybe some keyboard lag, the odd app crash. Nothing catastrophic widely reported, though, like major data loss during install.
Okay, that's somewhat reassuring. And watchOS 26?
watchOS 26 brings some new things, like a wiggle or flick gesture, apparently, to silence notifications, a new workout UI, personalized workout suggestions. But here's the catch. And it's a big one. There is no direct rollback for watchOS betas.
Wait, what? No going back?
Nope. If you install the watchOS beta and run into serious problems, your only option is to physically send your Apple Watch back to Apple for them to revert it to a stable OS.
Wow. Okay, that's That's a major commitment,
They're
especially for something you wear every single day. Mailing it off. Yikes.
Yeah, it's a significant risk for a daily driver device. Really got to think twice about that one.
Definitely. Okay, moving from the wrist to the living room. Apple TV. What problems is tvOS 26 trying to fix?
tvOS 26 seems to be targeting two long-standing complaints. Sort of laggy app performance sometimes, and that really clunky sign-in process for all your streaming apps.
Oh, the sign-in pane. Yes.
So it introduces smarter memory management, which should mean smoother multitasking, fewer app crashes. Apparently, this is quite noticeable on older Apple TV 4K models. But the real potential game changer is this new automatic sign-in API. The idea is you sign into a supported app once, say, on your iPhone, and boom, you're automatically signed in on your Apple TV, your iPad, everywhere.
No more typing passwords with the remote. That sounds amazing.
If it works as advertised, yeah, it could be huge. Other updates include those liquid glass touches, making the control center and dock look fancier, a refreshed TV app with portrait artwork, letting you see more shows per row, new Apple Music Sing features you can use your iPhone as a mic now, add voice effects, improved profile switching, it might automatically prompt you when the TV wakes up, and you can now set any AirPlay 2 speaker as the permanent audio output, not just HomePods.
Lots of refinements there. Okay, finally, the Mac. macOS 26, codenamed Tahoe. What's the word from the developer beta testers? This is often where things get interesting for pro users.
Yeah, interesting is one word for it. The feedback for macOS 26 Developer Beta 1 is very mixed, highly mixed. While you have some users saying it's very stable with just a few bugs, there are many others describing lots of UI lag, random hangs, systems running hot, fans blasting constantly, especially reported on M1 and even the newer M4 Pro machines.
Oof. Specific issues.
All sorts. The S key apparently doesn't work consistently for some. Safari and Preview crashing unexpectedly, apps launching slower. We're hearing reports of Windows Server crashing.
Except that's like the whole graphical interface, right?
Pretty much. If that crashes, you're usually kicks right back to the login screen. Very disruptive. There are also reports of processes like core speech that's related to Siri and voice control and the main audio system sometimes just going wild and eating up 100% CPU.
Which would grind everything to a halt and probably mess up your sound, too.
Exactly. Leads to major slowdowns, reports of crackling speakers. So yeah, developers are strongly warning people, do not install this on a Mac you rely on for work or critical tasks.
So the advice is partition, or maybe a virtual machine.
Definitely. Use a separate partition or try it in a VM like Parallels or UTM if you absolutely have to test it. There are also graphical glitches being reported, flickering shaders, issues with external monitors. It sounds pretty rough for a primary machine right now.
Okay, so we've really run the gamut here. iOS sounds surprisingly okay. watchOS comes with that huge rollback warning, and macOS sounds, well, like an early developer beta. So, for you listening out there, maybe you're tempted to try these betas. What's the bottom line? How should you approach this?
Yeah, it really brings up that core question. Is the risk worth it for you? You have to remember, beta software, by definition, it's unfinished. The whole point is to find the bugs, the instability, the things that don't work quite right before it goes out to everyone. Installing it on your main device, the one you count on 24/7 for work, for communication, for everything, that carries a real risk. Could be minor annoyances, could be serious instability, could even be data loss if things go really wrong and you need to restore.
Even the public betas, which are usually a bit more polished.
Even those, yes, they've generally had more testing than the developer ones. They're usually more stable, but they are absolutely not final production-ready software.
So it's less about if you'll hit a bug and more about when and how badly it might affect you. Really need to go in with eyes wide open.
Precisely. Set your expectations correctly. Know that bugs, performance issues, maybe even features changing or disappearing, that's all part of the beta process. If you're super curious and you're comfortable with troubleshooting things when they break, maybe try it on a secondary device, one you don't rely on daily. And critically, if you do decide to jump in and test, provide feedback. Good, detailed feedback. That's the whole point. That's how these things get better for the final release. Your experience actually helps shape the product.
What a deep dive indeed. Into the weeds of beta features and Apple's OS 26 plans. It's really clear, isn't it? Betas give us that exciting glimpse into the future, but they absolutely come with risks and challenges. Understanding that whole process, though, it helps appreciate just how complex software development is and how vital that real-world user feedback loop really is.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder that getting from an idea to a polished product, it's a collaborative journey, full of iterations, refinements, all driven by user experiences, the good ones. And yeah, the challenging ones too. Every bug report counts.
So here's something to think about. Beyond just getting early access, how could companies maybe incentivize users even more to provide that really high-quality, actionable feedback during beta tests? What would make you put in the extra effort to write a detailed report? That's all for this deep dive. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of tech. See you again in the next episode of this Tech Podcast.